Oh my god, guys. I don't even know what to say about this episode. There's so much to go into. See, for the past few, I've just been kind of letting the images play in the background while I talk. But with this one, my thoughts are so all over the place. I'm gonna have to like bring up each individual image as I talk about the thing that it's associated with. So bear with me, this is gonna be a bit scatterbrained all over the place. This episode was great, by the way. This episode was really, 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 really good. Was it the best one of the series? Probably not the best on its own, but that's because like previous episodes were pretty like self-contained and episodic. Like for example, the Tohya episode, you can watch that with basically zero context and it's still a really, really great episode, right? Whereas this is an episode where, whilst it's pretty good on its own, it works better as like, when it's kind of inserted into the rest of the series, right? So obviously a lot of what it is that makes this episode good is going to be stuff that happens in upcoming episodes. But in terms of like just breaking the door open and just being like, okay, cool, this is what the series is about now, this was an incredible one. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a bit about like obviously my thoughts on the episode and the individual things happening in them, but also about the pacing of the series a bit more, because I've seen some people talking about like, oh, this episode we finally got a plot, and I've got a lot to say about that kind of like mentality, the idea that like episode 10 finally got a plot, 9 episodes of nothing happened, and then finally it's actually starting, which yeah, I have a lot to say about that. We'll get to that in a sec. But also I just want to kind of break down and analyze some things, maybe clear some confusion, because there's some plot points I had a little bit of confusion with too. For example, let's get this image up. So Danji visits this place with daybreak sprayed on the wall, which implies that it's also I noticed a thing. Even whilst looking at this screenshot, I just noticed something that made me so goddamn excited. We'll get to that in a sec. There's too much to talk about this episode. So Danji visits this place with daybreak spray paint on the wall, and as we saw earlier in the episode, all of the teams have their own logos. It's not just blackout. Every team is expected to have their own logos and card sleeves, which by the way, that's the coolest thing ever. I wish this was a thing from the beginning. I wish the original Vanguard, all of the teams like Q4 and Foo Fighter and all those others and Kaiser had their own logos and sleeves with those logos on. That's the cool. I'm sorry. I'm too happy. This episode is too good. But yeah, so because this is a flashy looking logo, it's implied that this is also a logo to a previous team, and Danji's visiting it. I get the feeling Danji was part of this team before he formed Blackout, and he runs into this woman who immediately I was like, oh, that's Mirei. It's not. So, to catch his own speed, there's a mysterious character who was announced to be in the series all the way back when the series was first revealed in January. They were like, here's the members of Team Blackout, here's Tohya and Mirei, and here's Tohya and Iseki, and here's a random mysterious character we're not going to tell you anything about called Mirei. And I was like, oh, this is Mirei. It's not. The Twitter account, very anticlimactically, the Twitter account was what confirmed it. They released a character design image that revealed that her name is called Haruka Sokawa. So she's not Mirei, which only raises more questions, because my thought process here was that Danji was visiting his old team because he was missing Mirei, or like he needed to see her or whatever, and this was her. It's not, which only raises more questions. So I'm all over the place. The thing I just noticed was the team logo has angel wings in it. And if you're a long-time watcher of this channel, you know how validating that is for me. It only seems to validate my theory. Oh my god, I think I might be correct. Okay, what is my theory? My theory is that minae, when she does show up, is going to be an Angel Feather player. She's going to use a Keter Sanctuary deck that uses an Angel Ride line. Now, the reason I said this was even a reason that was like so much of a stretch that even I didn't believe it, but I put it out there anyway because I wanted it. And the theory was that the reason she's going to play Angels is because we haven't seen another Keter user yet. We've seen 2 decks for every nation but Keter. Keter's the only one we haven't seen 2 nations with. For Yuyu, for Dragon Empire, we saw Yuyu's deck, and then we saw the wrestler use Eugene. For Dark States, we saw the guy who was in episode 3, he was using Baron Magnus, and of course Danji. For Stoicheia, we've got Iseki and Megumi. And then for Brandgate, we've got Zakuza and Tomari. For Keter, we've only got Tohya. There's no other Keter deck in this. We have not seen Hexa Orb. My original theory was that Megumi's brother was going to use Hexa Orb, and he still could, but it's confirmed that his old deck, at least, was Stoicheia. So I don't know if I see him changing nations. I don't know. We'll see. This is theories after all. I don't know if I'm right. And of course, the other reason I thought Mirei was going to use it was because I think minae, which is her surname, is a loose translation for the phrase like medical bag or whatever. And if anything we know about Angel Feather is that they're doctors and they use medical bags. And that was all I had to go off of. I didn't actually believe this theory. But now that Danji, who clearly is connected to Mirei Minae because he has like a little charm that has like Mirei's name on it or whatever, and he's visiting seemingly the hideout of his old team, and it's got a Daybreak logo, and the Daybreak logo has angel wings. Oh my god, I think she's going to use angels. I think the start deck we're getting in fall is going to be an Angel Feather one, and I'm so excited. Oh my god. Okay, calm down. We got to actually talk about the episode. So the episode was good. But yeah, I have absolutely no clue who this is. They're clearly not closely related to Mirei because they don't have the same surname, because she's Haruka Sokawa. Maybe she's part of the same group. I don't know. They look pretty old, by the way. Both Danji and her, they look pretty old, like a lot older than Yuyu. So I wonder how old this team is, and the building they're in looks pretty derelict. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the Cardfight next, just because that's a fairly quick and obvious one. I liked it. Obviously, again, people, copy paste too fast. They cut through it pretty, like, a lot, I would like to see them dwell on it a bit more. But at the same time, I think for what they were doing, they did it really, really, really well. And that's the idea that, let's face it, we all knew that Blackout were going to lose this card fight pretty easily. And so just get it out of the way, right? And the way this episode's been doing such a great job of like building tension too, I think is really good. So the card fight wasn't necessarily made for you to follow along and be like super invested in each individual turn or whatever. Even though you can still see the strategies and stuff they're using. It's not going so fast that you don't know what's happening. I still knew what each character was doing, and all of these decks have been seen in the anime up to this point, so you have no excuse for not knowing what the decks do, so you definitely can follow along with it, which I think is fantastic. So it's very clever use of pacing there, but also, yeah, the episode has been doing such a great job of building up dread, because, in fact, the series as a whole has, because I'm going to talk about the beginning few episodes, right? They were very slow-paced, episodic, character-focused episodes, and people hate that, but I've been of the opinion that, well, the original series was, and so was G. It's normal for a Vanguard series to start off slow and episodic and character-focused, to introduce all the characters. And I think it's doing a great job of that here, and it does an even better job of that because of the fact that you know something's going to happen in the opening theme, and also just in all the foreshadowing that's everywhere. You know something's going to happen. This series is a ticking time bomb. Something bad's going to happen. Especially after episode 6 with Tohya and everything. You know, like, bad things are coming, but they keep distracting you with these light-hearted slice of life stuff, and it feels menacing and threatening, and it really, this episode especially put me really on edge. Like, I was worried about these characters. I was invested. I cared. That's not something I've said since, like, G Next was airing, probably. I genuinely cared about these characters and wanted to see what was going to happen with them. When we got the reveal earlier on, so we have this kid, Shinobu, right? I totally didn't look over to my notes, so I remember what his name was. We had this kid, Shinobu, who was like, oh yeah, my team lost, and my team Blue Monday lost and we're at threat and people are coming after us and so on and so forth, right? Immediately I was like, oh, he's some kind of spy or whatever, this seems too suspicious, and he was. But that's the beautiful thing, right? When it was revealed that he was a spy, even when I already guessed that he was, because the plot point was just that obvious, I still, like, gasped and was like, oh, because I cared, I gave a shit. I was like, oh no, this is probably leading up towards the bit in the opening where Wonder Hill sets on fire, and indeed it was. In fact, I kind of predicted, and I don't know if this is necessarily true, but I kind of predicted that, like, the Buddhist statue that got installed in the previous episode was probably some kind of, like, flammable or bomb that that Iseki put in there intentionally, so that when he did plan on burning Wonder Hill, it would burn faster, basically. Which, by the way, I'm worried about Wonder Hill. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to it, you know? Like, is it actually going to survive that? Are we going to keep going there in Season 2? Because, like, that, like, not Ferris wheel, the other one, merry-go-round, that merry-go-round that they play car fights on and stuff looks so beautiful. And just, like, the set design and everything, it looks so nice that I'm, like, the thought of them not card fighting there anymore, like, genuinely upsets me. And once again, it all comes back to, I care. I actually care. I care about these characters in this setting. Like, that's crazy. And then let's talk about the thing I was gushing about earlier, and that's that there's, like, this it's the coolest plot point ever. I like, it's just, it's the kind of nerdy shit that I get excited about. I just love it so much. It's a plot point where all of these teams that know each other have regular team meetings where the leaders of each team go to this bar to talk about their teams, and they all have, like, different logos with, like, banners and sleeves and stuff, and it's the most adorable thing ever. I love it so much. As I mentioned earlier, I wish the other Vanguard series has had this, where, like, each team had their own logo and card sleeves and stuff. Imagine how cool it would have been if the reboot was actually good and gave Team Q4, like, unique card sleeves and stuff that they used. It would have been so cool. I want that so badly, but it's here in overdress, because overdress GOAT. I'm convinced now at this point, we're 10 episodes in, this is such a great series. I love it so much. I just look at these sleeves, and and it's a win-win actually, because I love it because it's so fucking, like, cute, and it's such cool world building, by the way. Although I will say, CinemaSins ding, get ready for that CinemaSins ding. Where are their ride deck sleeves, Bushy Road? Why aren't they using different colored ride deck sleeves? CinemaSins ding. You ruined it, Bushy Road. Worst anime ever made. Unwatchable. Literally I'm joking. I mean, you could say that maybe their ride deck sleeves are on the bottom, and they are just the same color but with a different design. I don't know. Whatever. It's the kind of stuff only I would notice. But no, these are great, and it's a win-win because we get our cool world building, and it just looks neat, and I love it. But also, Bushiroad can sell it. Because let's face it, by the end of the year, all 5 of these, I can't count, sorry, all 5 of these will be sold at the Bushiroad online store or whatever. I guarantee it. Put that on your bingo card. What bingo card? I don't know. But, I mean, I love them. These look really cool, and I hope we get to see more of these teams. Like, that's the thing, right? If we don't see more of these teams in the future, then whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But I hope we do, you know? I mean, the fact that they all have such nice designs and stuff leads me to believe that they've got it, right? You don't waste good character designs on characters that don't do anything. Then again, the members of Team Blackout, like the background members, they have really good designs too. So, I don't know. Maybe Clamp really are just going that hard. But yeah, like, with designs and stuff like these, they gotta come back at some point, right? Tournament, like, make Season 2 a tournament arc between all the different teams. That'd be sick. I'd like that. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't know if a series like this is going to dedicate a lot of time to something like a tournament arc, but I mean, if they're willing to do it, I would love it. And I also just love theorizing the clans and stuff all these people are using. Like, these are probably using dark states, and they're probably using lyrical monasterio, maybe? I don't know. Like, I just love it, basically. It's the cutest thing ever. That's the thing, I think it's adorable. And I don't know why, I just think it is. And then we've got the logo for Tohya's new team, which is what I think that is, and it's a pheonix, which is very symbolic, because of course, I think it's a pheonix, because Yuyu uses a pheonix themed deck, and also the next episode title is something to do with a pheonix, and Wonder Hell Burning could be like a pheonix rising from the flames. Yeah, I caught that Bushiroad in Kinema Citrus. I don't think any of you thought I was gonna catch that, but I catch that Wonder Hell Burning is gonna be a metaphor for a pheonix rising from the ashes. I caught that, you clever son of a bitches. I love this. And then Zorga, like, even the Zorga, like, okay, so in the previous episode we got a Zorga versus Yakuza card fight, which now, in hindsight, we now know that that was Iseki, like, planning out his plan of attack. That's very fucking clever, because now he's more familiar with Yakuza's playstyle, so he knows what to do in this episode, so we can beat him. That's so good. The fact that they're calling stuff back is great, because now I'm like, what other stuff from the past can they start calling back? And the fact that in the previous episode, one of the complaints I had and other people had was, well, where's Zorga? You know, we got to see Orphist, but where's Zorga? We got Zorga, and it felt more satisfying this time because we didn't see it last time. That's the kind of shit I love. It's just good. It's good stuff. And that's the thing is, I would love to talk for hours and hours and hours about this episode, but the thing is, most of it's set up, right? And so, I don't know what a lot of this stuff is. And so, I need to know what this stuff is before I can really talk much about it. For example, we had Yuyu's dad, which, first of all, I think that was a self-aware joke. Basically, from the beginning, you know, Yuyu's family has just been a mother and two sisters, right? And of course, I thought, like, oh, this is the usual card game thing, like card game anime thing, like with the original, where the protagonist just doesn't have a dad for some reason. But then, oh, with Yu's case, it turns out he does. Okay, cool. But the thing is, they're not showing his face. And I don't know why that is, because usually in a series like this, if you don't, like, if you go out your way to not show their face, because he's in a lot of this episode, he's in like a few different scenes, and they never show his face. And that leads me to believe that there's a reason for it, because there usually is, right? Usually when you don't show someone's face, there's a reason. And I doubt it's because it's someone we'd recognize, because I don't think so. Looking at the back of his head and everything, I don't think we'd recognize this dude. And before anyone makes any silly, like, time skip, like, theories that actually it's someone from the original G grown up, I don't, that's too far-fetched for me. They'd have a voice actor we'd recognize or something. I hear their voice and go, oh, but it's not. Which, by the way, Iseki is Shinemon's voice actor, which is really cool. But no, like, I don't think it's that. It can't be, right? That's too far-fetched and unrealistic. So, what is it, right? I don't know. Or maybe I am overthinking it. Maybe they just didn't want to show his face for some reason. I don't know. But that's the thing I like. Is this episode raised so many questions about, like, what's going to happen. And it really feels like it's going to ramp up. And I don't even know what's going to happen in the next episode. Because it's going to have something to do with Yuyu. Because, of course, you know, title has pheonix in it. And Wonder Hill is burning, which we got to see like a couple seconds of before it went like to be continued or whatever. And that's all I know. Danji's gone missing and he's with Team Daybreak, I think. I don't even know if this person's from Team Daybreak. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Jeez. I love this stuff though. I love caring. I think at the end of the day, that's what it is. I just love caring. The way they've done the previous, and that's the thing, is I know a lot of people, as I mentioned earlier, are complaining that this episode comes out of nowhere, like, oh, finally we have a plot after 9 episodes of nothing happening. But that's exactly what makes it good. If this was like episode like 2, 3, maybe 4, I wouldn't care as much. Like, it'd still be a cool episode and everything, but like, I feel like I have a firm grasp of most of the main characters by now. I know who Tohya is, I know who Megumi is, you know, that kind of thing. I've seen enough of these characters that I care, and that's what makes this episode so good. It's not necessarily that it is a good episode in and of itself, which it is. Like I said, it's because it serves as a piece in a larger story. It pays off stuff from earlier, and I'm invested because I care about the characters from earlier. But also, it seems to be setting up a lot of stuff to happen in the future. Like, for example, I haven't mentioned it yet, but like one of the big reveals in this episode was that Iseki was the villain this entire time, which is funny because when the character designs for these characters were first revealed, that was like my gut instinct. My gut instinct was, oh, the villains are going to be Iseki and Zakuza, and Zakuza is not. Maybe? Maybe he's not? See, I'm starting to doubt myself now. But I was like, yeah, Iseki and Zakuza are going to be the villains. But then we actually saw Zakuza, we saw Zakuza, and it turns out he's not, maybe, unless he's really, really good at faking it. And then with Iseki, like, we saw the goofy jokes and stuff with him with Tohya, and I was like, okay, cool. See, the thing with Tohya is, I wasn't expecting him to be a villain either. I was expecting him to be, like, a reluctant rival who, like, you know, hated Danji and Yuyu on the surface, and like would always keep trying to card fight them because you wanted to win. But then eventually, you know, when we did get our main villains and stuff and shit started going down, I felt like Tohya was gonna sweep in there at last minute and like save them. Because he's like, oh, you know, I hate you and everything, but when the chips are down, when it counts, I'm gonna be there for you anyway. And I thought he was gonna get something of like a redemption arc. No, he's a villain. Cool. And maybe he'll get a redemption at some point in season 2 or whatever, but I don't know, this episode pretty clearly showed that Iseki and him were just straight up villains, which is interesting considering how humanized they are. Like, Iseki was making up, like, had a lot of humanizing jokes and stuff. He seemed like a comedy relief character more than anything else. But another thing that's worth mentioning is that when he tells his backstory in the previous episode, Zakuza says, that sounds made up. And of course, it did sound made up, because, you know, like, in it, Tohya was riding a dragon and stuff. But I thought that was just a joke, right? But now the fact that he made up his backstory seems important, because it's like, well, what is his backstory? Now I'm starting to think him being a monk is also completely made up. Who is this guy? And where does he come from? And what is his plan here? Because it seems like his whole thing is that he's trying to manipulate Tohya into doing what he wants. Like, he's part of the reason why Tohya is the way he is. Which is why I think Iseki genuinely is going to be the main villain throughout all of overdress. It seems like he's someone who does pull the strings and is planning things, but that's my question. Why? What's he trying to accomplish here? What does he gain by burning down Wonder Hill and convincing Tohya to work with him? I don't know, and I want to. And that's all I have to say about Overdress episode 10. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing, I just want more. I just want more. I don't know what to say other than that. It was such a fantastic episode. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below. I really, really want to hear your theories. If you managed to like go through the episode and figure something out that I may have missed, please let me know. I'm so interested in finding out what will happen. Let me know what you think of the episode. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Remember, for every statement, there's always an asterisk. And I'll see you later for some more videos. See ya.